Ultra M from Mario's Madness V2 versus Cartoon Cat from versus Cartoon Cat 2.0. Yeah, a Friday Night Funkin' matchup. The series known for rhythm battles is something I am putting in an actual battle context, but for this matchup, I believe it makes sense. Two horrific versions of pretty popular sets of media, video games and cartoons specifically, who see their world as nothing but their plaything, something to play as an endless game where they will always be the winner, regardless of the circumstances. These two are very powerful and have a lot to go over, so today we are going to figure out which one of these entities can outdo the other. Ultra M, or otherwise known as Horror Mario, is a being that inhabits a cursed Mario cartridge where he can pull you into the game and put you in his endless playground. He loves messing with his victims and doing everything he can to make you feel hopeless, especially when you break one of his deals. But he wasn't always like this. He used to be a businessman, a very successful one, partnering up with girlfriend's father, Daddy Dearest, until one day, because of the fact Daddy Dearest is kind of a scumbag and greedy, he ended up trapping Mario in this cartridge, leaving him there for years, with Mario being transformed over time from this experience in this cursed world, eventually becoming the supreme controller of it. But he wanted nothing more than revenge, eventually learning that Daddy Dearest's daughter, girlfriend, and seeking revenge on her to make Daddy Dearest suffer. And that's when he sent over the cartridge over to boyfriend and girlfriend's house and took them, making them play in his world. Mario is very powerful. In one hit, with a cleaver, he's able to swing hard enough to cut someone in two. He can seemingly summon fire. He has super strength to toss people up several meters, it appears, and has regeneration that can heal from any injury. He only gets stronger the more characters he absorbs, with him being stronger than literally every other being in the dimension, who can tear people in half and completely change the dimensional landscape around them. He can absorb all of them, becoming Ultra M, a being over 100 feet tall, warping the entire reality of the respective world they're in. He can even stop powers from even working, since this is his world and he controls most aspects of it. Not even boyfriend and girlfriend can escape this. He was so much that they ended up both losing and permanently puppets and playthings to the unstoppable force that is Ultra M. But let's see how his opponent fares against this unstoppable force. Now on to Cartoon Cat, originally just an online story written by a guy known as Trevor Henderson. A famous horror artist, he was known for his craft and passion for drawing these creatures of horrific proportions. However, one day, unknown to anyone, something went wrong and Henderson's creatures escaped into the real world and caused havoc and devastation seemingly across the entire world. Each creature becoming their own problem in some way, some aggressive, some neutral, others massive and just destroy everything in their path, intentionally or not. But there is one that could destroy the world anytime he wanted. One waiting and enjoying every little moment of the world's inevitable end, basking in the chaos. This creature is simply known as the Cartoon Cat, with him being one of Trevor Henderson's strongest creatures ever. And one day, boyfriend and girlfriend ended up getting in the wrong place, being lured there by a monster. But it turns out that the monster made a mistake of choosing the place that was actually the Cartoon Cat's home, with the Cartoon Cat knocking out the monster in a single punch and making a deal with boyfriend to beat him in a rhythm battle and he will let them go. But Cartoon Cat, as we stated before, is no ordinary threat. This thing could stretch and deform their body to almost any degree, with him able to shapeshift and teleport and bend their body into someone's shadow if he wanted to. He even can multiply himself and has a healing factor. Also, he can warp reality to such extents that he changes the entire landscape into a cartoon, or he can just redact reality and make everything disappear, and has said that he can end the world at any time, he just chooses not to. However, true to his word, after a long fought rhythm battle, Boyfriend beats him fair and square, and he lets him and girlfriend go. However, he's not the only monster out there with them, only being one of the monstrous creatures of this world. However, he's certainly one of the more memorable and powerful ones. One of the few Boyfriend had to make a deal with in order to survive, and is one of the most powerful threats that Boyfriend has ever faced. However, let's see how he can manage someone like Ultra M. And trust me, this one gets kind of intense. First of all, let's figure out the smaller categories that don't really matter that much in comparison to the rest. Starting off with physical strength, both of these characters actually have a surprising amount of physical strength in the mod that they're from, but from what we've seen, Cartoon Cat most likely has the edge here. He's shown to be a lot more powerful, and based on some creatures in that respective mod, like Siren Head or Bridgeworm, which Cartoon Cat is confirmed to be stronger than, which means he has better provable strength, although Ultra M is definitely giving him some competition and might remove that strength advantage outright into more of a tie, but for the most part, Cartoon Cat takes this advantage. And speed is even more complicated. Cartoon Cat has been stated that he could destroy the world and just leave it, which implies interstellar travel, which is, well, a lot more impressive than anything we've seen Mario be able to do. Cartoon Cat also has much better reactionary feats since, well, he was able to kill a whole group of soldiers, and this isn't the first time he's done something like this, which those soldiers had guns, making Cartoon Cat provably a lot more faster in reaction timing from what we've seen Horror Mario or Ultra M be able to accomplish. However, Ultra M might actually have the slightly faster attack speed, with his cleaver being able to cleave someone in two the way he did with Horror Peach. That means he would actually be slicing at over speeds of 200 miles per hour, which is pretty good, although Cartoon Cat can easily react to this, but it does mean he's provably a bit faster in attack speed. Now, in terms of experience and intelligence, this is actually a bit tough since there's not actually that much to go off of, but I would give the experience advantage to Cartoon Cat. It's unknown how fully old these characters actually are, and Mario is certainly not a slouch, but the reason why he's so powerful in his domain is just because nothing can really compete with him because of all of his hacks. While Cartoon Cat is way more consistently shown to actually fight people, and those thousands of games of soldiers means it seems that Cartoon Cat, while yes, he was fighting people that were a lot weaker than him, he fights way more often than what we see Horror Mario ever do. So we're going to give him the experience advantage here. And in terms of intelligence, they are actually both pretty equal. Both of them being pretty smart, they understand what they need to do to trick their opponent, and, well, they just are really cunning and intelligent. But if I had to give a advantage here, especially in terms of composure, I think Mario has the advantage here. Cartoon Cat can easily get over angered at a situation, like how when Boyfriend was beating him, he lost his composure entirely and just gave into instinct and attacked him. And while Mario definitely was frustrated in one of his mods too, the difference is not only did it take way less time for him to regain that composure, but also, it wasn't even because of Boyfriend directly himself, it was because of interference from others that made him so pissed off. So he has a bit more overall composure. Meaning, while intelligence is overall kind of even, in terms of fully utilizing it to its best, I believe Mario has the advantage here. Now for the final category Abilities and survivability. This is where the most important part of this debate comes from. How their abilities clash off of each other, and can they deal with each other's abilities? These characters actually have a lot of similarities in some of their abilities. Like, both of them have a healing factor, both of them can multiply themselves, both of them can warp reality. However, in terms of healing, I would actually give this to Cartoon Cat as an overall advantage. First of all, his shifting of his body just kind of allows him to form any way he wants, and it's not really limited to anything. While both of them can heal from massive wounds, only Cartoon Cat was shown to actually heal from a vital organ being damaged. While Ultra M, while definitely melted, he was actually not under any threat because no vital organs were hit, showing that Cartoon Cat has healed from tougher things, although you could obviously argue that Mario could also survive if a vital organ was destroyed, but from what we've seen, Cartoon Cat has the more impressive advantage here. And in terms of reality warping, I would also give this to Cartoon Cat. His reality warping seems to be a lot more consistently powerful, with him being able to redact reality, or if in better terms, remove information from reality. This just means he's outright erasing everything. This is so far beyond what Ultra M has been able to do, which just seems able to warp what's already there. Not to mention, Cartoon Cat can do his reality warping anywhere, while Ultra M can really only do it within his game, and Cartoon Cat is doing it to a much larger extent than what we actually saw Mario doing it. What's also helping Cartoon Cat is that he can do this anytime, while Mario has to be an Ultra M in order to accomplish what he does. However, assuming that this fight is taking place within Ultra M's world, this is actually where the whole debate really comes from. Ultra M can just cancel out abilities. Actually, just normal Mario can cancel out powers. He did this with Girlfriend's powers, and this might imply that Cartoon Cat might not even be able to use his reality warping. This makes this debate really interesting because while Cartoon Cat should be realistically more powerful, the thing is, Mario can just remove that advantage. It's something he's been able to do with Girlfriend before, and he should be able to do it here at least to some extent. However, there is a caveat to this ability that makes it not one-sided in Horror Mario's favor if he could just remove Cartoon Cat's abilities. Horror Mario doesn't actually seem to be able to remove natural abilities, because Girlfriend, even when in his domain, was still able to go in her demon form and was still able to come back to life and was still able to fly. So he's able to cancel out powers, but natural attributes to a character do not get canceled from at least what we've seen. And this is where things get really complicated because what for Cartoon Cat counts as a natural ability and what doesn't. His healing factor most likely would count since Girlfriend's worked. His actual ability on shapeshifting and cartoonish stretching would work here because, well, they're not really tied to any ability, they're just something he can do. His teleportation maybe can count as a power, but it's hard to say if it really does, because again, it's really confusing what about Cartoon Cat would even count as a natural ability of his. And his reality warping would also probably count as an ability in this case. Let's just say it does for this part of the debate. And while Ultra M does appear to be able to control everything into the game, that's actually not quite how it seems to work, since he wasn't able to control boyfriend or girlfriend until after he killed them. Maybe it was just him trying to torment him, but again, there's not really a lot of evidence to suggest he could just control Cartoon Cat for simply being in the game. It seems like he genuinely has to overpower something first before he can actually control it. But this is also where I could argue that Cartoon Cat could just break the logic of the story and just has his powers anyways. He's already able to break out domains that he didn't create and is written by someone else. So maybe that would equate here, but even then, that's really complicated to guess if he can just straight up ignore the rules of reality that Mario has created. So that's also really going into assumption there. But even if we assume that Cartoon Cat could not use his reality warping here, how would Ultra M even kill him in the first place? Cartoon Cat has ridiculous regeneration and doesn't really appear to need organs to survive. I mean, he can literally become a two-dimensional shadow. And also, Cartoon Cat can probably just grow in size to the point he can reach Ultra M's height, although Ultra M's reality warping might be a trouble. However, Ultra M would need to fully disintegrate Cartoon Cat in order to actually kill him, and it's debatable if he can even really do this. Maybe after a little while he could, but also we do know Mario can be hurt physically even by stuff in his own game. So it's not that hard to assume that he could still be reasonably damaged by the Cartoon Cat. And here's just the whole thing about this debate that's really complicated. If you believe Ultra M just removes every ability that Cartoon Cat could possibly have because he has full control over the game, despite the fact he wasn't able to do it with boyfriend and girlfriend, yeah, Ultra M wins pretty easily. At that point, it's just a humanoid cat versus a god, and that's not going to go very well for that cat. However, if we assume that Cartoon Cat keeps his natural abilities, which I think is the most likely scenario, then Ultra M would not only have a hard time killing him, but Cartoon Cat most likely could still hurt or even kill him himself. Since Ultra M can still be hurt physically, there's no evidence to suggest that he can't. And again, Cartoon Cat is healing from pretty much anything that Ultra M does to him. And if you assume that Cartoon Cat just breaks the logic of Ultra M's world, he wins pretty easily, because again, his reality warping is just higher. And overall, that's where the debate kind of goes. It really just depends on what you believe. And here, it's really difficult to figure out an actual winner since, well, because they're Friday Night Funkin' mods, it's a little hard to find the full gaps of their power. However, if I had to give a winner, I think Cartoon Cat just has a bit too many advantages. Because in the most likely scenario where he keeps all of his natural abilities, Ultra M would have a ridiculously hard time killing him, and Cartoon Cat could most likely in return just kill Ultra M back, especially since we don't see enough evidence to suggest Ultra M could just come back from something like that. But again, even that is just assumptions. We can't really give a concrete winner here because you could argue so many things for them. But I think in the most likely scenario, while it would be a ridiculously long fight, and I would actually really like to see your guys' opinions on who would win this fight, overall, I would put my bets on Cartoon Cat. He's just overall more powerful, has the more ridiculous survivability, and overall, he's just better equipped for a fight. The winner is Cartoon Cat.